All right, guys, we're going to try this again. This is actually going to be a continuation of measurements. I went through and I got all the bowls the way I wanted them. And I was thinking to myself, what would be good to show the guys uh, some other measurements that are really important. Let's see if we can get in there and get this done. Uh, okay, you want the height, but can you see? Can you see how it goes around that radius just a little bit? Okay, the height is there. Now if you go to the next one, the height should be the same, right? You see how it bulges out just a little bit around that radius? They should all be very, very close to the same if you're doing a good job. Okay? Okay, another measurement that really needs to be checked, right, is your pinch. You should feel about the same amount of tug, same amount of resistance all the way across, right? Go to the next port. Should be the same thing. Like, see, that's a touch loose right there. And that's a touch tight right there. Okay, so these need a touch more work on that. And I'm fine with that because, yeah, unfortunately, that's one of the, of course, the one that's needs a touch more work is like paper. But we'll get to do that a little bit more. I'm gonna change the light a little bit. See if you guys can see how they look. See, we're checking out the new camera a little bit. All right, see if you can get an idea of what I like to do on them. Okay. Overall, you're going to do the best you can with your measurements, heights at specific spots, distance from your pilot to the bowl. Yeah, let's roll this around. You guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, if you take a look at the Sioux Pilot, right? See how it actually gets a little bit bigger? That's 0.385 top of the pilot. Well, you can use that, right? Like the way I did these is, since my guides are very, very close in size, the pilot will basically get tight in almost the exact same spot. So if I take the calipers and bring it pretty close to where that pilot gets larger, I can do a quick measurement to the back of that bowl. Okay? And then I can move to the next one. Everything's clean, so I can do this. Come on. And I can bring it down, and it should be, these are already done, so they should be right on the money. Okay? Now, when I do them, I do maybe 3/8 of an inch to a half inch down in the bowl, and then I do all the way down by the guide. And I do that in three spots. I'm going to do it on right inside. I'm going to do it on the back of the bowl, and I'm going to do it on the cylinder wall side. Now, I'm sure somebody's going to say, Charlie, is it really worth doing all that work? Well, it's a good question. If you're a little bit nutty like me, You want every bowl as close to identical as you can. Now, if I was a production guy, there's no way you can do that. The production guy is going to come in here and he's going to take the caliber and he's probably going to go right across the bowl and say, hey, it is what it is, and move to the next one, get the other one close. He doesn't have time to go through this. No exaggeration. It was probably 4 hours today to equalize 4 bowls on one head. Yeah, I know I'm a little OCD. I'm a little ADHD too. Okay. What are you going to do? That's the way I was built. Okay. My little brain never really turns off. Okay. But if you take a look at these, at this point, they should be pretty darn close on screen to each other, because the measurements are pretty darn close. As a matter of fact, at some point I will also do a measurement from the pilot to the short side radius, and I'll make sure all of them are going to be the same distance from that pilot. Yeah, I know. It's all right. And just to take the insanity a step further, okay, you put a pilot in, and you can measure the depth of this cutout to the pilot and make sure they're all the same. By the way, that makes a huge difference in how equalized your chambers are. See, like when I do a chamber from scratch, these were already pretty much done. They were already you can see the Regates guys, they had a head gasket on here. They brought it out to the size of the gasket and so forth. But when I get a head that hasn't been done yet, I like to take my Sioux with like a 30-degree cut or even a radius, a 30-degree cut and a radius, and I like to plunge cut the chambers. I plunge cut them on the intakes, and I can plunge cut them on the exhausts. And you can see right away how much core shift you have from chamber to chamber. And just by plunge cutting, a little bit of deshrouding really gives you heads up on the equalization of the chambers. Takes a lot of the work right out of it. Maybe I'll get to show you guys that at a later point with the Sioux stones and so forth. That always really worked out well for me. Okay, lighting is kind of an issue, but I'm doing the best that I can. Wanted to give you guys a look at the floor and how I brought that short side radius out a little bit more towards the center. I really don't like that lighting right there. Let's see if we can do something with that. Okay, that's a little better. See if you can see that now. You can see how I brought that out to the center of the chamber a little bit more. Center of the chamber, center of the cylinder a little bit more. It's been a long day, guys. And you know what's another important point? This arc that you have, right? All the small Chevys have this nasty pinch point, which really causes a problem, as we showed in the other video. But the more gradual you can make this, I mean, if you guys could see, take a look at how gradual I made that. That makes a difference how the air accelerates and decelerates, right? And it should be damn close to that one, right? They should be almost identical. Now, I did notice that when the core shift of this head, one of these pinch points is actually forward the other one a little bit. And you know, when you're measuring everything and you're checking everything, you can start to see, you can start seeing things like that. Okay, here's the other two. I'll move the light. All right, they should look pretty damn close to each other. Unless I missed something, which is possible. I mean, I don't have a 1204 in stock, so the gasket is not exactly where I want it to be. But I actually I like the gasket a little bit bigger than the gasket itself anyway, for a little anti-reversion dam. Overall, I think these turned out pretty good. I haven't put them on the bench since I equalized all the bowls and so forth. So it may have changed a touch. Not that big a deal. I just wanted to go through a few little measuring things. You know, the pinch all the way up and down should be as square as you can. It's funny, in DV's class, he likes to take a lot more material out of the top than the bottom due to the higher airspeed on the top. But when I poured ahead, it doesn't really seem to work like that. It uses the whole pinch. So I do it as a rectangle because I'm getting good airspeed even at the bottom. Now, I don't know if that's just a fundamental difference the way DV ports than I do, but it just seems to work. I mean, I did try to do it the way he shows for his nasty street heads, but it doesn't seem to work for me. I don't. Yeah, move some of this junk a little bit. Right. Last airspeed I got on the pinch, I was still 306 on the bottom. So, yeah, it's a little bit less on the bottom, but not that much. Something to think about.